Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 10 of the Shed End podcast. We are here. It has been 2 months since we've been, here recording an episode, and my God, has a lot of stuff gone down at our favourite football club since then.
We were meant to release an episode after the debacle against Moreton City, but we listened to the audio and some of the comments that were made about the lack of signings in a certain position.
And unfortunately, James did betray us and switch teams and went to the far post Perth.
Yeah, absolutely.
No, I'm joking.
Who are now making their return to podcasting on the 15th of October, so make sure that you don't watch that. Stick with the Shed End podcast. We are the number one source of Perth Glory news. Anyways.
No, we do like him. We do.
Oh,
like
no,
him.
we do.
But
like
the
him.
irony was, though, is that
stop poaching our talents.
After that podcast, we bitched about the fact that we needed a centre back,
which we got,
and we brought in Mr. T.
We did.
Yeah,
I pity the fool.
Mr. T.
Why Mr. T?
Because you look like Mr. T, bro.
Do you know who Mr. T is?
Do you know who Mr. T is?
For God's sake.
Mr. T, man.
Well, for the sake of beating around the bush, let's just go over quickly some of the... Also, another reason why we didn't release that last podcast, you guys said in the first 3 or 4 episodes when the audio quality wasn't even horrible that it sucked ass. Oh boy, you're going to be excited for if that footage ever surfaces. The audio quality was terrible.
And as well, signing news, we did sign Chelsea's midfielder, Moises Caicedo.
Sick, yeah, nice.
Well,
good.
so
you stink.
Who's
that
that?
banter was terrible.
Awful, yeah.
Well, let's get into it here. I think the first important thing that we do have to cover, very briefly, we'll cover it, is our Oz Cup exit to Moreton. Shit game. We played like shit, and I don't really want to talk about it too much, but we'll briefly skim over it because we are here to
talk about our pre-season form as
Absolutely.
like a starting point.
Yeah,
because it's been a busy pre-season. We've had more A-League games, against A-League opposition this time around than we did last season, where it was just the MacArthur shit show.
Have we though? Because we had Australia Cup. But we played Victory twice last season.
Because all we had was Victory twice. And then we had MacArthur, and that was a disgusting game. But the frequency of games that we've had this season has been good, and we've played against different A-League sides, and we've actually got to see what David is wanting to implement. And we obviously were very positive after the first few Australia Cup games, maybe a little bit too positive.
Yeah.
The Moreton City game, it was just one of those games where we weren't at it. I think it's as simple as that. We weren't at it, which can happen.
I think what happened is they went into it going, we've beaten City and Brisbane. We're playing this NPL team. We won't.
We should be flogging them.
We should be flogging them. Yeah, they didn't go into it with the right mentality. That's just an assumption, but I think they didn't give it 100%.
I didn't really get too much of that. I think Moreton's mentality going into the game was really good. You know, they weren't sitting back and trying any of this dog shit. They were actually like taking the game, going to it, trying to get something out of it.
But what they did though is that they exploited our press really cleverly. The way in which they got behind our midfield line and then exposed our back line was really clever. And so you got to give credit to them.
Yeah,
because they studied how we press and they did well to win the game.
I believe was Barr injured then? Because I know he just came back from injury.
It was Muir and Majex.
It was Majex. Obviously,
and also
we had a few more injuries. No Milosnik and
they've been out the whole pre-season.
We haven't played with them yet.
Yeah.
Also, we started the podcast saying, raise your hand if your team has lost in 2 weeks. Did Perth not lose to Newcastle?
No,
10 days ago.
Well, Vandy has claimed Bunbury now.
Pre-season friendly. It does
Bunbury.
not count.
So, Vandy, Matt, you can have Bunbury, but we'll take Albany. Thanks. I think Albany's much better.
Vandy,
anyway.
come on the podcast, mate. Come on the podcast. We'd be glad to talk to you about what it's like being a wooden spoon club, considering you'll be there in about 6 months' time.
We can.
I mean, to be fair, mate, we have gotten 2 wooden spoons in the past.
Yeah, so we can
exactly. So we have experience.
I don't think we're in the position.
We're here for you, Vandy. We're here for you, mate.
Speaking of the game in Albany, because we obviously played Newcastle twice, we got a bit of feedback. We apparently looked more balanced and defensively solid. Bodnar had a good game, apparently.
Thank you. Right there.
Adriano Labib had a good game. Caicedo is not there yet fitness-wise. I think he's started the 2 games and come off in the first 30, so he's not ready yet.
I wonder why they played him in the first 30 and not played him at the end when everyone's got tired legs.
Maybe just to get him used to us starting from the start rather than trying to find his rhythm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Also, it's a better indication of where your player is at sort of physically and I guess just technically when you start him off at the start.
Yeah,
you know
because
what I mean?
he's playing
there's not really much point of bringing that player on as a super sub at the end. You want to be testing them right from the off. So
What are
I
you?
don't mind that.
What are your all guys' thoughts about both Kungar and Caicedo? Because we've obviously talked at length about the other signings that we've made, but Kungar and Caicedo, we signed them a couple of days apart from each other. What do we think about them?
I mean, I haven't seen much. Sorry, I haven't seen much of Kunga, but I think he was obviously needed. Caicedo, I haven't seen much of him either. However, I'm not having a dig at you, Stan, but you did hype it up like we were signing Mbappe.
Oh, fuck.
So, but let's just hope he does put bums on seats like you say.
I genuinely thought we were getting Falcao. Like I was thinking, who's the only like high tier Colombian that would ever come to like because of age? I was like, oh my gosh, it's like Falcao because it's gonna be James. I don't know how we're gonna get Falcao, but it has
Pablo
to be surely.
Escobar to
Yeah. Like I was so certain we're getting this absolute superstar, and then it's like a guy that didn't even have a football page, like one that was working. I tried the one link I found, it was broken.
Yeah.
James ended up finding one, but I was like, what is
about 2.5
happening?
minutes of worth of YouTube highlights to go off.
Yeah.
So he played for a team called Orsamunso. I think that's how you say it. Now, this team must be somewhat good if they had one of their products get poached by Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Aston Villa bought one of their guys and has loaned them, I think, to some club in Spain. So clearly,
there's something.
Clearly, I'm hoping that this is like a Galaxy Brain type of signing on Andres' part, because I reckon Andres would have been scouting some like talents and was like, oh, Christian's done pretty well. And someone else, I forgot his name, but he did like a radar or like a percentile graph of like where Caicedo fitted in with players in similar leagues in South America, and he actually rated quite highly in a few of them. So he's someone that for the viewers and the listeners that haven't watched any vision of him, he's someone that he's yay high. He's like a hobbit. He's very tiny, but he's very nippy and very quick. Very direct plays on the left hand side, and if he can get his conditioning up, I think he'll be really solid. And then if we talk about Kungar, he's a bastard, man.
He looks he looks fucking scary, bro.
Fuck, when they released the photos of him next to Zrilla and Andres, I was like, this guy's a tank.
He's the type of guy that if you're walking down the street and you're about to walk like across the path, you're going the other side of the street, bro. You're crossing the street so you don't have to walk next to it. In the nicest way possible, by the way. In the nicest way possible.
He looks like the bouncer that would throw you out of the pub.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, you've had a bit too much fun tonight, mate.
Yeah, doors that way.
I just wanted to say as well on the two signings, while I am excited by both of them, I am concerned about the amount of one-year deals that we're still putting out for players, especially Faisal and Caicedo, because if these are young players that we're bringing in, and by all means, I wanted to see us bring in some younger talents, which is absolutely fair enough. I don't see the benefit of bringing in young talents on one-year deals if there is not a clause in the contract for Caicedo or Faisal to extend that based on appearances.
There has to be a performance clause or something.
There has to be.
Surely.
Because I don't see that. I suggest. Well, I say I suggested. I guessed at the start of the transfer window when we got Faisal, and I think I said this on the podcast as well, that I had a feeling that maybe Faisal only had a one-year deal, sort of as a trial deal, and that Bulgaria was going to mainly be sort of that superstar guy that we ended up putting forward. But Faisal has absolutely torn everything up. He is the big name going around Perth right now.
Well, the goals that he got in the NPL interdivisional what is it? Interdivisional final or something.
Which one? There's 11 of them.
The qualifier, so they don't get kicked out of the NPL. I think the goal they got against Mandra, where he like cut inside and just went bang.
That was a beautiful goal as well.
Fantastic goal, man.
Yeah, it is concerning. I do understand, obviously, giving like Milosnik, giving him 2-year deals, but
he was on
one-year deal. But giving players like Faisal, Blair, they should be on 2.
Blair's on 2. I think.
Blair's on 2. Bulgaria's on 3. My only thing is, I don't mind Milosnik getting the 1-year deal because I almost feel like
he's a short-term solution.
He's a short-term solution, but use this as a transitional year to build up guys like Abdul Faisal, acquire and go. Because those are the guys that are really going to push off and be able to provide not only that sort of energy in our front line in future years, but also you're going to be able to sell those guys on for a big fee eventually. And what I really liked was, I can't remember who it was. I think it was Adelaide with, I forget how to say his first name, but Pana Kikianis. He signed, what was it, a 4 or 5 year deal or something like that?
Yeah.
Crazy. And you never see that around the league, which is really frustrating. But I've seen lots of people saying, and I agree, you need to be tying these guys down on long-term deals. Yeah. We've seen that Australia especially has become a massive market for player signings. Big European clubs coming in. Qual went to Newcastle. Yep. Tilio was scouted by Celtic for about 3 years before he went. Irankunda went directly to Bayern.
But why can't we get millions of dollars for all these players?
But exactly. But we're starting to really sort of get these types of fees for him. Irankunda was, what was it, about 4 million AUD. Gauchi was about 3-4 mil.
Yep.
It's really good, the kind of fees.
add-ons.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
add-ons,
yeah.
but they're very achievable add-ons.
Yeah.
What I'm more saying with that is that we're a big market. Not a big market, but we're starting to become
We're getting there.
a rising market in terms of other Asian countries.
Yeah.
We're starting to become a really good market.
Yeah.
And you can see that with the fact that America are now coming over to Australia and taking a bunch of players. Girdwood Reich, for example. Patrick Yazbek is now going over to America playing for Nashville. I know he didn't go straight from the A-League to America, but still, they're tapping into a lot of former A-League talents that are now going over to America. And I think that's good, seeing a lot of these Australian players going over to these English-speaking countries, like England, like Scotland, like America.
But the bigger point is making sure that the environment which these young guys are put into is a good one. Because I think we've obviously, like, when we had Richie first come in, I remember we just flooded the squad with a lot of young players, but I always maintained the view that the environment that we threw them into was not conducive to good development. It was almost like, right, you guys are there, do your best, good luck. Right now, though, what we've got is that there's an actual plan, and you can see with how we've brought in Kunga, he can help out Zach in the back line, or you've got Brandon and Musti that are there to help out Bulgaria, for example, or you've got Tags and Milius and even David Williams who can help out Faisal and Blair. You've got this good squad development strategy that surely David was like, well, I've been working at Leipzig. Red Bull's model all over the world is get young players, develop them well, but have a good core of senior guys that can help them out, because these young guys are going to be your stars. And if that's our strategy, fair play to both Stan and David, because from what we've seen in pre-season, things look promising. But the hope is that we can carry it over to the regular season and can really kick ass going forward.
I do think we're going to have a lot of promise going forward. Look, I know it's a bit of a shitty analysis because we were playing against Dinella, but looking at some of the players that we had in that game, Pearman looked phenomenal. Will Franey looked fantastic, especially on set pieces.
Franey looked good in that state team.
Labib looked really good. Cameron Cook, he didn't have a lot to do, but he made a banging save against Andy Keogh. We loved that, absolutely. And that entire front line, quiet and go. Bulgaria was playing at striker for most of the game. Faisal looked top tier.
No surprise.
There's so many young players that we have coming through this squad, and I know we make all the jokes about, we have 29, 30, 31 first-team players, but considering that a lot of these guys are younger players that I'd assume are going to spend most of their season in the NPL, there's a lot of talent coming through, and that's why I'm happy that we did, hold on to, some experienced guys, maybe like an Amini or someone like that, because while they're not going to be, playing every game, sure,
they'll be valuable in the change.
The experience that they're going to be able to bring to these younger guys is going to be immaculate.
Yeah.
And that's what's really important going forward, is that these young guys, and if there's any A-League coach that I think is going to be able to get a lot out of a young team, it's going to be a guy that's worked with, a system
that's
proven around the concept of bringing through young players. And not only that, I heard a lot of concerns about, he's not really an experienced coach, so how's he going to work with young players? He's been a youth tier coach at top teams all around the world. I have no concern with him being able to get the most out of young players.
The rumour was, when he was at Leipzig, they were going to give him his own team, but because the AFC qualifications weren't recognised by UEFA, he couldn't have it.
Yeah.
That was the rumour that was going around. So he's clearly a competent coach.
Oh, absolutely.
His philosophy worked at Genoa, Ostende, and then he went over to Chicago, and then he's done well with Sydney FC. So clearly he knows what he's doing.
I think he was well overdue for a first-team gig.
Oh, shit.
Oh, absolutely.
One thing I'm going to quickly note, this is about Amini. I saw a few people say we've got too much depth. I don't think we need him. But in a way, I actually think it's a good thing having him, because it creates competition for, like, he'll be fighting with Pennington for that starting spot.
Yeah,
and I think it's a good thing having that competition.
Yeah, well, you look at our midfield now. We've bitched about the midfield for years now, and you look at every position. There's so much variability and flexibility for Dave, where he can go game by game and go, right, I can use this duo or trio in the midfield, depending on the opposition and their strengths. We can compete with any midfield, and that's the thing. Last season, our midfield, it was just Musti and then G, and then the floodgates open.
Well, not even
just
the midfield. Like, overall, we didn't have much depth. Like, now, Borland, when he's fit, not injured, he's going to be fighting with Hamzawi for that starting spot as well.
Or Lizalaski as well.
But I think he'll play more centre back.
Do we think?
I think he's better there.
Do we think anyone else is leaving, or anyone else is going to come in during the January window, or do you think this is the squad until January?
I think now it's a bit late.
It depends on injury. If there's some,
we'll see.
The only player that I could see possibly coming in, and this is
Azani.
Well, I love him, but I don't know if we're going to do a deal.
I don't think we'll get in another winger.
Well, Well, number 10 would be brilliant.
A number 10. Okay,
Yeah.
here's-
Pending.
I was going to say, the only one I could see coming in is if Zrilic has a change of heart throughout the season and doesn't really like the Gamulka experiment, which I don't know why he wouldn't, because Gamulka's been doing absolutely brilliantly ever since he's been put in the 10 role as sort of like a higher-up pivot. But the only reason I could see him bringing in a 10 is if a massive opportunity arises, and I don't see one arising in January like that.
Fair.
If he does decide to scrap the plan for Gamulka and decide to sort of push Bulgaria down the pecking order one more, it would have to be a massive, massive deal. And I seriously doubt that we're going to get one in January. And also, I doubt we're going to be in a position where Ross and Stan are going to be willing to splash the cash like that in a mid-season transfer window.
Yeah.
As much as I would like it, I also like the fact that we're building these young squads, all right? And this is something that I haven't really heard anyone touch on. But the fact that we've got a massive squad comprised mostly of young players, and we haven't heard about any of the senior players having their deals cut financially or anything. When we do eventually offload a lot of these players at the end of the season, which I'm expecting we're going to do with guys like Miljuznic, possibly Musti Amini, David Williams maybe if he chooses to retire.
Yeah.
There's going to be several guys off of contract, and one thing that does mean is a sudden influx of ability to offer these younger players that will hopefully be proven themselves better deals. Long-term deals for guys like Phase Out and Go.
Well, I do wish like the club was more open with us, because like, what's the deal with Anioma?
Ioma.
Yeah, I don't think he's... I reckon he was only a
Because
trial,
we've
wasn't
signed
he?
him and we haven't seen anything.
No, he signed.
Oh, he
We've
did,
signed.
didn't he? Yeah.
We've
One
signed
year.
him.
I haven't seen him.
The last game that he played that I'm aware of was the Tri-Series game against Balcatta.
Yeah. He was cup tied for the Morton City game. That's why he didn't
Yeah,
play.
we
but
know
the other,
that,
but the other,
I am
pre-
curious as to why he didn't go down to...
Yeah.
why didn't he go?
Bunbury
Yeah,
now,
or
isn't
even against the state team.
Maybe he's injured.
That's
We
true.
they just haven't said it.
Maybe.
Well, the thing is that's the thing. They need to be more like, from rumours we know that Amini is recovering from an ankle surgery. Pennington's injured.
Yeah.
There was Nick's injured.
Sorry to catch
And
you up.
Nasmo was injured for a really
that's-
long time that we
that's-
didn't really hear anything about either.
That is so unlucky that both Pennington and Miljuznic have just come to the club are injured, and
Yeah.
it's disappointing the
Yeah.
fact that they are injured, and hopefully they can recover soon, because I would love
Yeah.
to see them out there. But I guess on the flip side, because we've signed so many good players, we've been able to compensate for that. We could have been really in trouble if we had the same squad as last season.
The fact
and
that
those
we've
were
been
the main
doing,
signings.
the fact that we've had a really, really solid like I know Moreton City loss aside, we've had a solid pre-season.
Yeah.
We beat Brisbane, we beat Melbourne City in an absolute cracker game. We had, from what I heard, an okay performance against Newcastle in that first game, aside from some lapses in defence, and then a strong showing in the second one, and some good showings against the NPL sides as well. The fact that we've done that without Pennington, Amini, Miljuznic, which are definitely three players that are in contention for starting spots, is absolutely brilliant. We did most of it without Hamzawi as well, who I'd imagine
He's
is-
been decent.
Yeah.
We saw him in the state team game up close, and he looks solid. He looks okay.
How old is Millie?
Miljuznic.
30.
He's
Yeah.
29, I believe.
29.
And Hamzawi,
Yeah,
29 or 30.
he
28.
can whip a ball in the box.
See,
Very-
I
He
don't.
can.
I don't think we're going to be offloading Millie after this season. I think if he plays well, we might even sign him to another year.
Depends if he's.
Because he's a solid, known, like good A-League
31.
player.
Yeah.
You know.
But it depends on when he can get back into the team, because it would have been nice to have seen him and Pennington in
Yeah.
particular in the squad and see how they fit in,
Yeah.
and see what attributes they're going to bring in David's system. I think that's going to be very interesting to see when they are fit.
I think that's also a benefit of the season starting a lot later than most leagues. Is actually giving a lot of time for these players to be healthy, because often I associate injuries coming back in November or late October with like, oh, we're going to miss like 6 or 7 games, but they're only going to miss probably the first opening rounds, the first few rounds, and then they'll be back. So that's quite a benefit. But from what I've seen of Millie and Pennington, if they're both fully healthy, it wouldn't surprise me if they can stay healthy the entire season, that they will probably be in the starting lineup every week.
As much as our good friend Jacob Oz01 likes to preach about Miljuznic being, I guess, the detriment of his entire existence.
Bad.
He actually put in quite good numbers.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, though,
Last
we were banging on about having Ryan Williams back in the team, but Miljuznic had a better output than Ryan Williams did when he was with us.
And he's rapid.
Quicker.
This isn't me saying Williams is shit, far from it. I'm just saying,
of course not. No.
Miljuznic last season, he got 5 goals, 5 assists.
Yeah.
And Taggart needs
And that was in that
the support.
dead Brisbane
A
side as
shit
well.
That's what I'm saying.
Brisbane
Yeah,
side.
it's
It's
a
a horrible
bad
service that
team.
entire season.
And we
Yeah.
can't just be relying on tags. Like, we need to make sure
Yeah.
that we've got a balanced contribution from as many of the players as we
That
can.
front
Yeah.
What
three
I
really
am interested
pace
to see,
abuse.
though,
Fuck yeah.
what I am interested to see though is that we sort of saw last season when Tags sort of had a partner in his
In Collie? Oh, sorry, not
in
Collie.
going
Collar.
forward, I guess.
Collar, not Collie.
He sort of dropped off a lot more. Are we going to see him sort of sit up a bit higher, or is he going to be dropping forward a bit more to get involved in the play? Because as we know, Miliozic is a lot quicker than Collar. I rate his movement a lot better than Collar. He's got a better work rate than Collar, and I love Kolakovsky, but Miliozic is a step up, in my opinion. So does that possibly change?
I think we just go with Taggart being almost like a false 9.
That's the role that he sort of played last season as well.
Because I think, if we think about it, O'Neill, let's say we've got Amini and, Pennington and Amini, one of the two, and then Gamulka and then O'Neill as a midfield 3. You get O'Neill dropping next to the centre-backs because we've always had a back 3 when we've had the ball. Then you can have those two, the other two midfielders a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Then that gives Taggart the opportunity. Let's say Gamulka starts as a 10 but then drops. Gives Taggart the opportunity to drop, link up, get a bit more involved.
I still seriously doubt that the Gamulka will be played as like an out-and-out 10 this season. No. I still think that the dual 8s is going to be what we're going for.
When out of possession, he'll be a 10, but then I think he'll drop and then go next to the 2.
Yeah.
Creating almost like a 2-3-5.
Speaking of
3-2-5.
all these players and all 30 or 31 that we have, who do we think really needs to have like that season? Like, is there anyone that's coming to the club that you think needs to have a really good season for us to perform well, or just
Ollie
for his own
Sale.
standards? I've got Ollie too.
I got 2.
You got 2?
I got Musti and Ollie. The reason why I got those two, I mean, Ollie, first of all, for me, you are a good goalkeeper. We saw it at Wellington.
Yep.
I don't know what the hell happened at the start of last season, but flush that down the toilet, reset, new season, new coach, new everything.
Yep.
He needs to set a good standard. He's a good leader. He's a good communicator in the back 4.
Yep.
He can let himself down, though, with being a little bit lazy when he has the ball. But if he can really impose himself and have a strong season, he's going to be really crucial for us. And then with Musti, the sooner he can get fit, we need consistency from him. He's one of our most experienced players.
Yeah.
We need him and O'Neill in the midfield really gelling and playing consistently and playing at a high level.
A healthy Musti last season was a game changer.
And
he would come on and
really
he'd do
decent
great.
as well.
He
I
does.
would say.
Yeah.
I'm definitely interested in seeing how a lot of our younger players perform, though, because it's a big risk, but I also think that this is a risk that I have a feeling could really pay off.
Yeah.
Because a lot of our talk about these people being on short-term contracts, a lot of the senior players having deals coming up, if these younger players do kick on, I don't see a reason on keeping some people around, honestly. Obviously, you've got the likes of, Bodnar, Gamulka, Franey, Pierman, all that competing for a CDM spot alongside Amini. You've got guys like Lizalaski competing for maybe that starting left centre-back spot or backup left-back spot over guys like Riley Warland. You've got guys like Kwai and Go that are going to be competing with Miliozic. You have guys like Caicedo and Asmo and Faisal all battling out for a spot on the left wing, which is crazy young winger depth. So there's really no shortage of options that we have here. In terms of senior players that we need to kick on, obviously we need all of the senior boys to kick on. I'd say Ollie's a big one. He had some good showings towards the end of last season. Obviously,
absolutely, he's class.
I think by his standards, he'd admit he had a very poor start to the season.
Yeah.
The end of last season with the game against Sydney and the game against Melbourne City,
no, it's not his fault.
No one looked good in those games, so I'm not going to put that on Ollie at all.
Of course not.
He had some very strong showings towards the end of last season.
Yeah,
and
he did.
While at times
I wouldn't say towards the end.
The middle part. The middle
to sort of
the last.
I'd say the middle, like 10 games. He was genuinely
solid.
One of the best goalkeepers in the league.
100%. He was 100%. He saved
but
it so many times.
He can't be inconsistent.
Here's the thing: preseason, I honestly haven't minded it too much.
So when we build out from the back, I can shit myself a little bit.
Here and there, but I'm hoping that he can really sort of kick on with that a bit after playing a bit more of sort of Zrilic's style. Because I don't really think that he had to play too much of that at Wellington, which is maybe
correct.
Sort of,
I can't remember.
He had to be on the ball at times, but I don't think his main focus was really just on the ball technician.
Yeah.
It was being a shot stopper.
Yeah.
We saw it with Poulsen. We saw it with Sale. You need to be an on-the-ball shot. You need to be a shot stopper. Zrilic's system is a lot of building out from the back. You need to sit higher off your line. You need to be willing to actually take the ball at your feet and work it around. I think he's going to get better over time. I really hope he does.
I think he's better as like a shot stopper, but I don't think he's that good one-on-one.
Well,
here's the thing. I know it sounds crazy, but goalkeepers aren't supposed to save one-on-one.
No, they're not. No.
If you miss a one-on-one, you're a shit striker.
Isn't like he's let in some goals that he should have saved?
Under pressure, like he's let in a few that he's.
He has, but that comes back to a point about last season where how much protection did he have?
Yeah.
The midfield and the defence. sorry guys, you did a shit job last season. This season we've at least shown more intensity and more aggression when we don't have the ball. So the theory is Ollie should not be having to, because I did it. It was actually quite funny comparing the numbers between the season where we won the premiership and then last season. The jump in the number of shots on target that our goalies faced. So when Reddy was in goal for that season, I think it was about 2 or 3 shots on target. Sale was facing about 6 or 7 per game. 6 or 7 shots on target per game and a high XG as well.
Yeah. What I mean what I mean by 1-on-1, right? Obviously, you can't expect them to save it every time. But okay, let's say a player's free on goal, right? And it's Reddy v Sale. Who are you going to trust more?
That's tricky. Oh, what version of Reddy? Like
what version of Reddy are we talking?
Are we talking
Prime Reddy?
Last
Prime Popper.
Maybe not
Under
45-year-old
Popper.
Prime Reddy under Popper is
Probably Reddy.
He was something different.
But
than
it's
Popper.
but we got to.
Ronaldo couldn't score against Prime Reddy under Popper. Like I'm convinced of it.
But it's like, that we're gonna have to anticipate that situation by default because we're probably gonna play with a high line.
Yeah.
Teams are probably gonna try and look to play over the top, assuming old mate Kunga can't take him out. Then it's going to be on Ollie to do his best.
Yeah.
But again, I just think going back to that point, as long as the midfield and the back line can stop shots when they're just outside the box, then I think Ollie will have a much better season than he did last season.
Just want to save Alex's blushes here as well before that clip gets taken out of context when inevitably Taggart might miss a 1-on-1. Strikers who miss consistently
from 1v1. You're Darwin Núñez
yes.
types. You're Nicholas Jackson types.
No, don't say Nicholas Jackson. He's having a great season. But yes, consistently missing 1v1. That's bad striker. 1 or 2's okay. Just before this happens and people start.
Okay, let me just explain that. As a goalkeeper, as a goalkeeper myself, one of the fundamental things that you are taught is that you are not supposed to. You can't get. What?
You're a goalie?
He is a goalie.
This guy, bro.
You're like 5'9". Why are you a goalie?
I'll have you know, I saved several shots from Sebastian Despotovsky 2 years ago in a game that I played against him. So that. He played against Gosnells.
Oh.
I
On the flip side, though.
No, let me just say, goalkeepers aren't supposed to save 1v1s. It's not supposed to happen. All right, you've got a goal that's 16 times your fucking size, and the striker can put it anywhere. They can do whatever.
Yeah, but you're more likely to save a 1-on-1 than a 1-on-2.
That's his job.
No shit.
That's his job, isn't it?
That's his job.
That's his job.
Wait. You're more likely to save a 1-on-1 than a 1-on-2.
Yeah, but
No shit, John.
I know.
That's how mathematics works, bro.
On the flip side, we've talked about.
No, but what is your point? Explain
my
what are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? Oh, yeah,
that you can't blame goalkeepers if they concede 1-on-1s. It's down to the quality of the striker that they're facing.
But it's also down to the quality of the goalkeeper.
Sometimes it can be, but the majority of times, no matter how good the goalkeeper is, the striker should be scoring if they're a quality striker.
They should be.
Yeah, but it's A-League.
But we don't have many 1-on-1 situations last season where Sale was exposed 1-on-1. He didn't have that many. It was more like a shot from a position where you're likely to get a high XG. But to save us from dabbling on that, let's flip the script. Who's a player that's going to have a breakout? Just wait. Who's a player?
Shut up!
Just wait, leave it.
We're moving on!
Who's a player that we think is likely to have a breakout season?
Caicedo. I'm calling
Why?
it.
That's just a lazy guess.
No, it's really not.
Why?
No, genuinely, I think what players that succeed in the A-League are really, really quick with good touch, good dribbling. That's the kind of league that if you get put into the league with those kind of qualities, you will succeed. We've seen it with people like Nestor. We've seen it with people like I'm just trying to think what's really around. Like even
Garen Quall.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a weird shout, but Elvis came sober.
Even the slippery fish off the bench. The amount of goals he would score just because he had a good first touch and had a bit of pace about him. I genuinely do think if he can stay healthy, and from what the little we have seen of him, he could be class. And I genuinely hope he does turn class, and we can hold on to at least 3 or 4 years and get a good fee for him.
What do you think?
I'm going to make 2 big predictions here. I think by the end of the season, we're going to see Australian national team call-ups for both Gamulka and Lizolowski. That's my big call for the season.
Zach's already in the young Socceroos.
He is in the young Socceroos.
Well,
Very bold, mate.
I'm saying big call. I'm saying Gamulka and...
Gamulka's interesting.
I'm saying Gamulka and Lizolowski are going to get national team call-ups.
What about Taggart?
That's my prediction. Here's the thing. I'm sorry.
You're
Popovich just announced his Socceroos squad, and Luke Bratton is in that squad. How the No Nisbet, no Ballard, no Robinson, but we got Luke fucking Bratton, where we've already got 3 fucking CDMs in the squad.
I mean,
Taggart either.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
though,
No
'cause
Taggart, but we got Mitch Duke, bro. Fuck this game, bro.
I'm not surprised though, because Popper loves he loves to build a retirement home squad.
No, he does.
He loves his
called
old
Jason
players,
Garrett
mate.
to the national team, bro.
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Jason
I missed. Is that like this team?
Jason
Like
Garrett and Nishan Valupalai.
He's
How
on
do I miss-
all the
Jason-
victory teams.
Jason Guerrier.
Azani's in there as well.
Well, Azani, fair enough, but Nishan Valupalai's fuck. I thought this brother was going to have to represent Sri Lanka because no way I thought he was getting into the national team. Now he's got a fucking call up when we dropped the points in our first 2 easily winnable games, and now our Lord and Saviors Luke Bratton and Nishan Valupalai are here to save the day.
Yeah. Who's your breakout player, Josh?
You know what? I'm gonna say it, Hamzawi. Like genuinely, from what I've seen, he looks real. Like he's definitely an.
What
upgrade.
does a left back breaking out as a good player look like?
From someone that hasn't played in a year
Yeah.
and who came in and we were like, who the fuck is this guy?
I think he's gonna surprise a lot of people.
Are you expecting like really good defending or good crosses, good
attack.
assists, good attack?
I
You're
think
hoping for good
he'll
attack?
really like contribute
He-
in transition.
The one thing that he does do that he did do on that state team game was he would anticipate and counter press really well.
we just
Okay.
look so much better on that
So-
left side.
Interesting.
He looked good on that. So I think I'm not going to go with Hamza. I'm going to go with Faisal or Caicedo.
I was gonna say I'm really hoping that we get both Faisal and Caicedo tied down on long-term deals because I am also predicting that Faisal is going to be the A-League's next big export.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I honestly have
Yeah.
a feeling.
I agree.
He
He's
is
class.
phenomenal.
He's cold.
He's ridiculous.
Him and Milanovic are 2 of my favorite wingers to watch at the moment.
Faisal, I think, can get 7 to 10 combined goal and assists.
100%.
Oh, 100% minimum.
I
feel
just
like
want to.
minimum.
I just want to pray to God that there's a way to get both him and Caicedo into the same setup. Even though I don't know if there is. If you could, that would be very nice.
You could chuck Christian off
On
the
the
right because there was a goal that he scored
I know what-
last
yeah.
year
Yeah.
where he cut in. He literally brought the ball down like it was a piece of piss and
Yep.
then just skidded past like 3 players and then smashed it.
He's
in
a
the
little.
bottom
He's
corner.
a little nippy one, isn't
He's
he?
a pest.
Yeah.
But we need that. We need that wide variety of options with our wide players because you've got Carluccio who can be more of that grunt on that side. You've got Anasmo who's got a really good stride and can get in behind well. Faisal and Caicedo are good dribblers. We've got and obviously Mila Jusnic who's the roadrunner.
Can I make another odd prediction as well?
No.
Go on.
You're out there, Will.
Yeah, just listening.
Long day at work, was it?
Yeah.
I think Jared Carluccio is going to have a really good season.
Yeah.
I think he's
agree.
going
Mr. Play Anywhere.
Okay, this might be a stupid prediction. I think he's going to be one of the lads that are up there for the MGP award at the end of the season.
Really?
Yeah,
I honestly think-
he's a utility.
He's
right?
he's a utility player.
He can fit
But
anywhere.
Over that last half of the season, from Unite round onwards,
He's solid.
I have not heard anyone slander this man at all. I've only heard people singing his praises, and it's completely deserved.
Doggy.
Left back, right wing, left wing.
I do
10
think he is
striker,
better
centre-back,
at-
goalkeeper. This bro has cooked everything.
He's the Ashley Young of the A-League.
Mate, if Zrilic gets a suspension, I will not be surprised if the week after Carluccio's got a fucking suit and tie.
Doggy has done his coaching before when he was in Western Sydney.
I will say though, I think Doggy's better as a fullback than a winger.
Yeah.
I'll play him anyway, man.
But you can
like,
play him
he's a
anywhere.
shit
Like,
player.
When he
does
was
the
at
job
left back,
anywhere
he was
plays.
very good.
That's why I was surprised by Warland re-signing because, look, now that I wasn't expecting Lizolaski to be as good in preseason at left back as he was.
No.
But even then, I was really banking on the fact that our 2 left backs going into the season were going to be Hamzawi and Carluccio.
Yeah.
But Doggy can play anywhere, man.
What do we think is our best back four?
Oi.
When everyone's fit.
Hamzawi,
Kanga.
Kozlowski, Kanga, Risdon.
100%.
Yeah.
I think that's unanimous. I think that's mine as well.
Yep.
I would make a shout for possibly having Majex there next to Kang. I like
No,
Lockie
no.
Bar. No. I like
I'm-
Lockie Bar. I really like Lockie Bar. But I don't know if I'd want to see a centre-back pairing with him and Kanga. I just feel like that would be geriatric.
But who said Lockie Bar?
Me.
So you'd rather have Lockie
No,
over
no.
Lizolowski.
I have nothing
did not
against
say
No,
Majex.
Majex.
No.
No, Majex.
Right.
Majex. I'm just saying. I think Bar is a better centre-back than Majex, but I think
Right.
Majex and Kanga would be a better pairing.
So that, but why?
Who
is-
would play on the left?
I'm confused.
Lizolaski.
Oh, so you don't
Wait,
you don't want Hamzawi?
No.
Of the two.
Oh, I'd say that my preferred back four is the one that we all mentioned. But
Yeah.
Right.
I wouldn't be mad seeing Lizolaski look to tie down that permanent starting spot at left back. Because
Okay.
of how well he did.
Oh,
Fair,
yeah.
And
fair.
if he was moved out to left back, I would rather have Majex take that spot at
Right,
the
100%. Right, but
Kanga
you didn't
over
say that.
Bar.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
brought up
Yeah.
the checks
I-
for no
I-
reason.
I
So I
worded
was
it
like,
really
what?
badly.
But-
Right,
I
yeah.
worded it really bad.
But Lizolowski and Kanga could actually be a really good partnership.
Fantastic
to be honest.
left-footers,
Yeah,
left
I
centre back.
think
Can't
you
like,
balanced.
oh, yeah,
But
100%.
it's that same complex that we said with the Socceroos, where it's like Sutar's probably our best centre back, but our best centre back pairing is Kachati and Burgess.
Easily.
Yeah,
Because
Alright.
it's balanced.
Fair.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, that's
Which
fair.
is why I think Majex and Kanga
It's very
Majex
similar.
and
Yeah.
Lizolowski is better balanced than Bart and Kanga, even though I think Bart is better than a better centre back than Majex and Lizolowski.
Because I think playing Bar and Kanga is very similar to last season's
Yeah. Bart and
Beavers.
Kanga will
Beavers
be
and Darryl,
interchangeable,
it didn't
Lizolowski
work.
Yeah.
will be interchangeable.
Yeah,
You need one quick centre back and one slower one.
we have a really interchangeable team where so many players can play different positions if need
That's
be.
good,
Yeah.
though. You
Yeah,
have at least
it's
2 or 3
fantastic.
people
It's
fighting for a starting spot
Injuries
every
won't
position.
really be a problem, hopefully, because we have lots of players that can take left back, right back, defensive mid, pivot, attacking mid, striker.
So I
wing.
guess-
And we're
Like,
still
So-
going into the season with a CDM as our best.
So I guess so the natural question from there is what's our best midfield and what's our best front line?
Oy.
Best midfield, I'd say.
I don't know.
Pennington,
honestly,
O'Neill.
When everyone's fit.
Everyone fit.
I'd say Pennington, O'Neill, Gamulka.
I'd say that's fair.
And then front three.
I do want to see Amini and Pennington. Like, obviously, it's difficult because they've both been out this preseason, so you can't really make a judgment on either of
Yeah.
them. But from what I was watching last season, I'd rather Pennington over Amini. Whether that changes this season in this system, I'm not too sure. But purely from what I saw last season, I think Pennington would fit better.
I think Pennington, Gamulka and O'Neill is our best midfield.
I agree.
And then
I agree.
front three. Front
Yeah.
three.
Front four.
Front three.
I'd say
I would really like
The front three.
Adam
Killed the
Taggart.
Casado
Get back here, you
tags
pesky
and
rabbit.
Casado tags Mille.
Ooh.
Oh no, Abdul.
Oh,
Over who?
Oh,
Caicedo.
I think Faisal starts and Caicedo's the pocket rocket off the bench.
To start the season, yeah.
I would say that as well.
But I would
Fair
say
enough.
If Miliusnic doesn't get, have we got any word on his recovery?
I said
he's
no-
not-
no-
he hasn't
November,
even
I
started
heard.
The only
training yet.
time we've seen him was when he was doing a photo shoot in Sydney. That's the
No,
first time we've seen him in a Glory
We
kit.
saw him at the Melbourne City game, and I got a
No,
selfie
no,
with him.
wearing the whole Glory home kit.
No, but
well,
Yeah, I
we know
yeah.
that
he
he hasn't even.
under that tracksuit jacket.
Him
Oh.
and Pennington haven't started training. That's what we've been
Yeah.
told.
Well,
I wouldn't
Yeah.
mind the first game of the season. I know it's not going to happen, but I wouldn't mind seeing Caicedo off of the right wing.
Yeah.
I'd
Yeah.
imagine it would be Doggy right wing, striker tags, and
Faisal
then
left.
Faisal left. But I honestly wouldn't mind seeing Caicedo off the right, or even Quiet go off the right and then Faisal off the left.
I think we will say Caicedo off the bench on the right. I reckon if Abdul's having a good game, I think Caicedo will come on if he's healthy. And it could be on right wing, and then maybe you put Doggy at left back, take Hamzawi off, put Lizolowski at left centre back, something like that.
I don't
But
know if this is too much to read into something, but Faisal went down quite a lot with cramp over the preseason, man.
I think-
The thing
the
on
Brisbane game, he went
Yeah.
down with cramp. The Moreton City game, I'm pretty sure he also went down with cramp.
yeah.
the reason
I don't know
why
if that's reading too much into something, but
I'm against Faisal starting every game
Just
is
hate
because no,
No.
I really rate him as a player,
Yeah.
but you're forgetting he's 18. We can't do what we did to Benny last season.
can we?
No,
It's
I
true.
think the
I
difference.
think we can.
No, there's a difference. There's a difference
You
because
can't be starting him, playing him 90 minutes every week.
no,
Like,
the
you-
difference is in the two systems, right? Because Stadge ball was Stadge ball. That was like blah, 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 like get 6 players in the front line, inshallah, pump the ball to them like a Tony Pulis
So
night watch
fun.
kind of football.
So fun.
Driller ball is there's at least a fair amount of structure, and you can
Yeah, but
forgive. No, but you can.
I still
you
think you're
can
better
forgive-
building them up.
You can
But you
forgive.
got to
You,
consider the
I
squad
don't think it's fair to start him.
But Faisal might be getting used to playing at that level because he's playing what was it? Not NPL,
It
but
wasn't
the,
NPL.
the level below, wasn't it?
Yeah.
the level below. So and you're wanting him
State
to get his conditioning right.
Mm.
So he's probably just getting used to the fitness regime.
I still think you're better off. I don't think he's ready to start. I still think you're better off sort of phasing him in like Aaron Kunda.
So
I
then
think
who
you
do
get-
you start? So
You
Caicedo.
start Casado because he's a few years older, which makes a big difference. It's like what we were saying about
But you're also
Anasma
considering
and Benny.
the fact, though, that Faisal's had a full preseason with us. He's played 90 minutes in a lot of the games, and Caicedo, at the most, has had 30 minutes of football in each of his preseason.
But he has been playing though this year.
He has been playing.
Average
but he's got-
average sofa score rating of 7.11.
Go
Now,
on.
boys, I'm gonna quickly cut in real quick.
Well,
I know. Before this episode started, we're gonna write a script, and so we don't go in circles.
We'll
Yeah.
take this into 2 episodes.
Have
bro.
we
We'll split it.
actually
We'll figure it out.
followed that script?
No, not at all.
Yes, we have. Yes,
no, we have.
No, we have because
I've prompted 2 things.
There's
This
the
could-
other
this
thing-
could be 2 episodes.
yeah, the
This
other
could be
thing.
2 episodes,
What we're
I
up
think.
to, I think we're up to thoughts on the style of play.
Oh, it's good. Anyways, back to the.
I
No, but
thi-
just one more thing. Like,
Yeah.
look, I think the difference you're going to have between Faisal and Benny this season is that there's so much depth out on that left hand side.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about Faisal, Caicedo. We haven't even mentioned Joel Anasmo coming back from injury as well. He's there, and he looked really good in the game against Darnella. Obviously, I know it's Darnella, and he's going to play quite a lot of NPL before he gets back into it.
Yeah.
He still looked really good.
There's plenty of competition.
So look
much.
at young competition on the wingers. You got Caicedo, you got Faisal, you got Anasmo, you got Ngo on the other side. You've also got Carluccio there. There's plenty of options. Absolutely plenty of options. And you even look at guys who I won't even be surprised if they get chucked out onto the wing at some point. I hope they don't, but I really won't be surprised if we see someone like a David Williams out on the right wing in emergency situations.
Nabi Blair.
On the right wing.
Blair played left wing at times. Pre-season.
He did, but
He did well too.
watching back the Brisbane game and the sort of movements that David Williams was doing, I wouldn't be surprised because he was naturally gravitating.
But that's because, as branching on into the next point about the style of play, it's very fluid in the front line. The amount of runs that Taggart was making into those wider channels with linking up with Risdom. I like the fluidity of our front line, but it's not just you're moving for shits and giggles. There's somewhat of a plan. You're trying to confuse the opposition defenders, and I think when we've seen drill a ball from the first game against Armidale to what we saw against the state team, it's a lot more polished. The press, in particular, in that state team game looked a lot better. Albeit the state team, there's two different levels, but they couldn't keep the ball well when we did press, and I think the game against Newcastle in Albany, our press led to 2 goals.
That state team wasn't a dog shit side either.
No.
It was quite a good side.
No, but it's like when we're talking about indicators for future success.
Oh, no.
I definitely believe that our press will get us at least 5 to 10 goals this season.
I'm curious. So Glory NPL is under 23s, correct?
Yes.
Yep. I'm curious as to what sort of, I guess, rotation we're going to have. Because obviously a lot of our younger players are potential A-League starters or whatnot. We have got a squad of 30, of 29,
like
30
old Todd Bailey
players.
rebuild.
Look, obviously guys like Will Franey, I'm expecting him to be mostly NPL this season. Labib, I'm expecting to be mostly NPL. Cameron Cook, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays NPL, if he plays NPL games to keep his match fitness up. Guys like Osler, I wouldn't be surprised if he's playing NPL as well. But then there's other guys that are sort of like here and there where I don't expect them to start, but you also have to consider like, are they going to get game time in the NPL? Like Bodnar, Bagaria, Ngo, Anasmo, even maybe Blair or Caicedo in some ways. Like, are these even Riley Warland as well? Riley Warland. I think we're going to have a stacked NPL team this year, which I think is a blessing in one way. But I also think in other ways it can be a bit of a curse because we have spent really heavy on this squad. And we've got a lot of great young talent. But I almost feel like this young talent's going to be not wasted, but I guess sort of just left a bit frustrated if they're going to be playing a year in the NPL. I think there's going to be heavy rotation.
Yeah, he wants to keep the squad fresh.
Bench. That's absolutely fair. I think everyone under the age of 23 is probably going to get a shot in the NPL at some point, which is good because I'm sick of seeing our NPL team be absolute shit. But I don't know, man.
Well, if we jump onto the fixtures,
How old is Luke?
Huh?
How old is Luke Bodnar?
23.
Oh, really? I thought he was a lot older.
if we jump in on the fixtures, just because, what do we think about our fixtures, by the way? Because I think there's a couple periods where we don't have home games for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then we've got 4 home games in 11 days.
That's how it is every season.
something like that,
So
yeah.
it's every year.
If we could just win it Unite round this year, that'd be
That'd be
great.
I
Really
mean,
nice
look,
boost.
I'm not a big fan though because peak holiday season when everyone's away, you play 4 games in 11 days.
Yeah, that's
It's
January,
true.
isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, so
December, January, like Christmas time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That's going to be a rough one.
So speaking of it, what do we think? Because you've done it as well. I think the easiest month for us in the sense of our fixtures, I think, is either November or January. Because if we look at November, we've got Mariners away, City at home, West United in the Unite round, and then Adelaide away. I think that would be doable. And then you look at January, we've got Western at home, Sydney away. We'll probably get screwed there.
Yeah.
But then Auckland at home, Western Sydney at home, and then Newcastle away.
Look, one thing that I really noticed last season is that our season was really defined by how poorly we sort of did against the sides that we were battling for the wooden spoon. Like, obviously, we had those cases where, against the Mariners, we put up a really good performance. Against Melbourne City, we beat them.
We did.
Wanderers, we beat them.
Victory, we were decent.
Victory, we were very decent.
Yeah.
what I was really frustrated with, though, was games that we did play against, sides like Western, sides like Brisbane, sides like...
Very disappointing.
Like
we were at that moment in time, it wasn't likely, but we all, as fans, had this, small idea that maybe if we can pick up points against the sides we should be beating, we could make the 6. At that moment in time, it was like, there's a chance. And then when we lost to Western away... I think we might have drawn or lost to Brisbane.
No, there was a good portion of that season where we're like, okay, hold on, this is really possible here.
And then we beat all the teams we weren't supposed to beat. And then there's that portion of season where we were playing against the more lackluster teams, and then we lost or drew to them. It was like, well, what was the point? Like we did so well to beat all these teams that everyone wrote us off against, and then we lose to the teams we were supposed to beat. It didn't make any sense.
This was the same paradox that I noticed with Graham Arnold's Socceroos, by the way. And I don't want to make any accusation.
Hello.
No. Hold on. It's the same thing that I keep talking about how I don't think Arnold was capable of coaching a squad where they were favourites to win a game.
Yeah.
He can only coach a squad in which they're underdogs.
Very true.
Stadge was priding himself on counter-attacking football, on quick transition, which works well against, your top-tier teams that are going to push their numbers forward. Sure. Yeah. But when teams are going to sit back and just be...
No, we were hopeless.
Just pricks the entire game with their defense, sitting 8 men in the box. We couldn't do shit.
Yeah.
Because there was no space. There was no space to operate, and the system wasn't designed around finding space to operate. It was designed around quick transition.
Exactly.
And when there's people behind the ball, you can't transition.
Adapt your system to fit the team you're playing in Impossible Challenge last season. It was like, let's just use the same tactics every single week against every single team. And it was just so, like, you could see that there was literally no change, no any inkling of, like, okay, they're doing 7 at the back, let's stop playing. It just nothing. It was going to work eventually.
Or just working your fullbacks to the ground by saying, right, your starting position is left wing and right.
Yeah,
now
like,
you've got to sprint back, and it's like, well, you're going to kill these guys. It's like, imagine telling Risdon, oh yeah, that's your role.
As much as we gave shit to Riley Warland last season, I've got to tell that man was a fucking trooper, bro.
He held up well.
The fact that he survived that season, let
him
alone
and Benny.
Yeah,
him and Benny. Oh.